Unbeaten Tracks in Japan, Letter 56, Yamada-Ise, November the 12th, 1878. In order to complete the round of Shinto pilgrims, we left Yamada early this morning, ferried to Shioai-gawa, rested at Futamiya, a neat village entirely composed of tasteful tea houses, went on to Tamisama inner kurumas, and then walked over the sanded rocks of a very pretty coast to a resort of pilgrims, which, even at this dead season, attracts large numbers, many of whom were bands of young girls. Shells, coralline, and curiosities were offered for sale at booths under the grey cliffs, together with wood-colored woodcuts of Fuji by sunrise, as seen from the shores, but it was all dull and grey, and Fuji had to be taken altogether for granted. Further on, there were booths where melancholic-looking women sold small torii, earthenware frogs, straw circles, and other exvotos. And then we came rather suddenly on the queerest and dearest shrine of pilgrimage that I have ever seen. A small promontory of grey sea gravel with a low wall built round it, descended in the still grey sea, terminating in a large torii of unpainted wood, and a wooden altar table on which were laid 4 big green stones. A piece of worm-eaten wood, 2 zen or small tables with offerings of rice, a number of bits of green poetry an inch long, with a distant resemblance to frogs said to be the servants of the gods, 3 wands with gohei, and a number of rin. On and about it were heaps of circles of twisted straw with gohei attached, some new and fresh, others old and musty. A more grotesque collection of rubbish I have never seen, and it was being added to constantly by relays of pilgrims. This promontory points to 3 isolated rocks, one behind the other, on which the dull waves broken in drifts of foam. The center rock is of imposing size. It has a small torii on its summit, and a heavy straw cable, wound round it, connects it with the rock between it, and the shore heavy straw tassels dangling between the two. We then travel for some miles among lovely wooden hills with hamlets and rice valleys to the village of Asama, left our kurumas ascended to the noble hill Asamayama, where flaming maples lighted up forests of pine and cryptomeria, rejoiced in the abundance of the microlepia tenuifolia and Gleichenia, spent an hour at a very large tea house with a magnificent view near the summit, and enjoyed what we saw or thought we saw of a grand panorama of wooden hills, deep valleys, indented coasts, and beautiful islands, reveled in splotches, scarlet and crimson here and there among the dark conifera, marble at the root double temple, one half Shinto, with the chief object of adoration, a rude block of rock, shaped like a junk, the other half filled with idols of kannon, shivered for half an hour over hibachi, hurried down the mountain, regained our kurumas, and after a short picturesque jolt, rattled down a steep wooden hill to the entrance to Naiku Shrine. Near it is a most peculiar street composed entirely of most peculiar shops, which consist solely of covered doma, or earth spaces, with hundreds of whistles, wooden flutes, rice ladles, and small wood images of daikoku ranged on racks up the walls. The entrance to the shrines is very grand, a straight avenue for a short distance, from which one road turns to the right under a torii, and then goes forward to a solid stone bridge, while the main road, which is very broad and handsome, turns uphill toward the temples. On the left, there is a building for the sale of oharai, a house for officials, a covered platform for scale dances, and the treasury in stills. Above this, a terrace of large stones with an extensive pebble area, enclosed by a straw rope, and a flight of steps leading to the shrines, the arrangement of which is exactly that of the Geku, except that the principal entrance is closed by doors instead of a curtain. There were runners worshipped and threw down their ring on a white cloth. Do they think, I wonder, that we have added the gods of Ise to the objects of worship? The somber evening felt fast, and in its shadows the darkness of the silver groves of camphor and cryptomeria, some of which are of colossal size, became absolutely funereal. We were the only visitors. A dismal wind sighed through the trees, dim lamps one by one began to glimmer through the gloom. Our footsteps sounded harshly on the gravel, and in the profound melancholy which surrounds the shrines of a faith which was always dead and has never lifted man towards a higher life, I involuntarily quickened my pace, for I felt as if the ghosts of the dead ages were after me. It was good to see houses and living men again, and to be able to hire lanterns for our kurumas. A fine road runs from the Geku to the Naiku shrines, a distance about 3.5 miles, terminating at the Naiku in a fine stone bridge with uprights with bronze finals and a lofty torii. The towns of Uji, Ushidani, and Furuichi occupy much of the distance. They flourish by the entertainment of pilgrims and the sale of temporary relics, and in the dim light look solid and handsome with the long lines of yadoyas, tea houses, joroyas, and various places of entertainment, suggestive of everything but sanctity. Along the road at suitable distances on both sides are grand stone lanterns roofed with bronze standing on stone pedestals of 5 steps each, and their dim melancholy light, altogether unworthy of the superb appearance, makes the descent into the absolute darkness of Yamada almost appalling. Our host has come in to ask us to write lines of poetry to hang upon his walls, so I must conclude. Isabella Lucy Bird.